Hey, what's up, everyone? This is me, Dre. I just went to CNN.com. I've actually been on it for about 30 minutes or so, just reading up on the story that just happened out of California. Seems like this young guy who happens, or at least it's said to be the son of Peter Rodger, the assistant director for the movie The Hunger Games. This young man went on a shooting spree, killed 7 people, injured about 7 more. He was also found killed. Hasn't been identified whether he was killed due to gunfire from the police or if he had turned the gun on himself and taken his own life. Now, throughout the story, it does make mention of the fact that about a week or so ago, his family had contacted the police because they felt like some of his videos that were up on YouTube indicated that he might commit something. Police came over, interviewed him, and they said that he was a very polite, wonderful young man. Who knows if there's any truth in that or not. I did go to the YouTube page because on CNN as well as USA Today, where I also went, they had a couple of links. And when I watched the videos, a couple of things. Now, I'm not a psychologist. In my age, I've grown into the habit of somewhat psychoanalyzing people, just identifying certain mannerisms. So if you get a chance to see his videos, especially some of the more recent ones, it seems like this is a very depressed young man. He was upset about the fact that he couldn't get into a relationship, and he had this fixation with blonde women in particular. He said he was 22 years old, a virgin, never kissed a girl, never went out on a date. Seemed like women weren't attracted to him. But then, some of the things that I wrote down, it seems like he has this narcissistic point of view about himself. He calls himself perfect, or as he said, marvelous. And then all other men were considered brutes or unworthy of a woman's affection. And in one video in particular, he's out at the beach, just wanting to watch the sunset. And he gets all pissed off because a young couple sits on a beach off in the distance, and he's upset because they're being affectionate to one another. And he's just asking why life is so unfair. Why couldn't he have what that guy has? Because he seems like he's better than that guy. And then, of course, he goes on to talk about how he can imagine how wonderful sex is going to be for them when they get home later tonight. So this is a very spoiled, socially awkward. That's another thing that I determined, very socially awkward, because when you look at him, when you watch and listen to how he talks, it would seem as though he's very up on himself. Even went to his YouTube page, and he's got a tremendous amount of selfies, very few pictures where he's taking photos with him and other people. So he definitely seems to be about himself. I mean, well-kept young man, a little effeminate, if I might say, and I guess that may turn off some women to some degree. Doesn't really have like a very physical build. That wasn't determined, as far as height, weight proportions. He had one video, it looks like he's rather small, young man, very skinny. So there's a couple things that, as far as with his self-esteem, he was telling himself how wonderful he was, but I think there was some inner turmoil, some conflict, simply because when you listen to him once again, there's always some sort of comparison between other guys and him, and I think he was just doing that just to kind of boost himself up. But confidence is something that you have to empower yourself with. Me, I was kind of shy before I moved here to Texas, and that was back after I graduated high school. 23 years later, people who know me, and they will tell you that I'm a very confident, borderline arrogant, and even sometimes my wife says that I'm a narcissist myself, but I'm very high on myself. I don't compare myself to other guys, but I just have that indomitable will. So when I go around, I carry myself with that confidence, like I can conquer anything. Not that I can take any man's woman, but I'm very confident with who I am. And this young man didn't seem to be confident. Very materialistic, talk about how he traveled the world, always talked about the things that he had. And the one thing he failed to realize is sometimes a woman isn't about what a man has materialistically. as long as he's got a good head on his shoulders. You know, not always going to be the most attractive man, but a man that's got a good heart, a good conversationalist, someone that can intrigue a woman's mind. It just didn't seem like this young man had it. He also seemed to be pretty entitled. That's how I felt, simply because his father being a director or assistant director, so they have a little bit of money. He's got a BMW at 22 years old. That's a vehicle you're not going to see with a lot of kids these days. So just his personal possessions, he felt like he was better than everybody else, and because of that, maybe that's why he wasn't able to attract a woman. But at the same time, me personally, and don't get this the wrong way, but I would blame the parents, because one, a little bastard like this, with that way of thinking, I'm guessing that he probably didn't get his ass kicked too much. And I'm not saying that he's got to be abused as a child, but every now and then when he does something wrong, I'm the kind of parent where I don't believe in a timeout where you go stand the child off in a corner. Now, I don't spank my kids. I raised my kids at a very young age, that I'm the one with the power. And it's not a democracy in my house. As they grow older, I will give them liberties. There's wants and needs, and you don't have any needs unless I give them to you. That's how I am as a father. And my kids, 20, 15, and 9, I don't have any problem with my kids. Now, I'm not the perfect parent, and I'm not comparing myself to parents out there, because there are great parents out there, single parents, and you have households with mothers and fathers. But me as a father, I can never have a child like this, because seeing those things, those characteristics, I would have nipped it in the bud a long time ago. So I'm guessing he didn't get his ass kicked by his mother or father too often when he was younger. And because of that, he walked around with his nose up in the air. The end result is this motherfucker went off and killed 7 people. And we watched the video simply because he didn't have sex. And it's, I can't say frustrating, because some people, they don't focus on that physical intimacy, but it seems like he was all bent out of shape simply because he couldn't get a piece of ass. So all that built up in his balls kind of just made him become very irrational. And he actually did make one video about 24 hours, I'm guessing, before he actually went off on this rampage, where he said there's going to be some retribution. He's going to go into this one college sorority, and every woman that he sees, he's going to kill. And then once he does that, anyone that he sees out on the street, he's just going to take out that frustration and aggression. But it has resulted in loss of life, innocent people, and my heart goes out to the family of those who've lost a loved one. But this motherfucker right here, does he deserve to die? It's not for me to say so, but at the same time, I feel like if it were my oldest daughter who was going to college and he had some personal beef simply because of his being socially awkward and he took my child, yes, I would say this motherfucker needs a burn in the 7 depths of hell. And I know that's a very personal assessment on my behalf, but at the same time, when you read this story, it's pretty heartbreaking, simply because going over the videos, and I tried to research a lot before I decided to record this video, without putting too much emotion behind it. But at the same time, it is my take on how I see it. And once again, this is just a lonely motherfucker who couldn't get a piece of ass. And because he felt like he was better than everybody else, he couldn't apply those social skills that should have been taught to him, or at least he should have learned through interactions in school or just being around other people. So my heart definitely goes out once again to those who've lost a loved one. But I'm going to go ahead and leave this video as is. There's a lot of information to read, whether it's CNN.com or USA Today. The guy's name, Elliot Rodger, R-O-D-G-E-R. You can find his videos. I mean, his page is blown up with a lot of his videos, primarily because of what's happened. So there's gotten a lot of views, to whereas prior to that, you really couldn't see that much, I'm guessing. But because of the attention that it's garnered, now there's going to be a lot. The views are just skyrocketing, and they're pretty much going viral. But go ahead and check that out on YouTube. But if you like this video, I hope that you like, subscribe, and share. Peace.